Okay, first of all, who's Ross Ulbricht? He was a founder of something called Silk Road, and he was in the pen for a very, very, very long time. Trump came out yesterday and said, nope, get out of jail free, do not pass go, do not collect $200. But who is this guy? Most people don't know this story. Joining me now to talk about that and other things is the great Jeffrey A. Tucker, founder and president of Brownstone Institute. Okay, Jeffrey, who is this character?
He was just a good kid. He came of age in the utopian tech period where people were innovating this and innovating that. He was looking at the drug war, saying this drug war is not working. So he decided to put together on the dark web a marketplace that was a free market, as he described it. Most of the products that were for sale on the Silk Road was weed of the sort that you can get in any big city retail shop now. But it also had other narcotics. But it also had very careful. It was a very interesting place. I went there one time. User ratings. For things that were for sale. So it brought some accountability and also safety for people that use these drugs. And of course, there are many. And it meant that they weren't going to be risking their lives in strange neighborhoods and dealing with strange people and getting strange products. So it was quite an innovative idea, but the entire thing was invaded by the usual types, right? So suddenly the feds were all over it, and when it really fell apart, they arrested him and scapegoated him for the behavior of many other actors who got off scot-free. I assume that we have all assumed for 10 years that it was because they were essentially federal actors, and confiscated all of his Bitcoin, and then put him through a trial where the judge gave him 2 lifetimes plus 40 years, which is, just for a nice kid who never dealt drugs. He was just created a website, and that was it. It's just kind of a fiery passion that he had in his early 20s. That was it. And to get 2 lifetimes plus 40 years was, how should I say, excessive. So he served 10, and his case got the attention of Trump, and Trump said this is just scum. This was a mistake the guy made, but there's no reason to destroy several lifetimes of his. So he's letting him out of prison, and now he's going to be, if he wants to be, a major star, in the tech community and elsewhere. So it's quite a glorious thing. His mother, Lynn Ulbricht, had been working for this for 10 years. I remember when he was first sentenced. She was going around to various meetings where she could get a hearing and trying to plead his case. And I befriended her, and I was always speaking out on behalf of Ross because I always liked him. I thought he was a good guy, a product of his time in many ways. But she pretty much alone made his case a cause célèbre, and made him kind of famous in certain circles, and eventually caught the ear of Trump and Musk, and now it's done. So that happened yesterday. So we're going to try to let him get settled and deal with his new life as a free man after having believed he was going to be in prison for life, to be suddenly out, and he's got his whole life ahead of him. So we're excited for him.
Jeffrey, could you just answer this, and then we'll move on to other things? When I hear 2 life sentences plus some, when I look at the crimes, they don't add up, and that normally means he offended somebody or some entity in the feds. That's exactly why Gotti got thrown to the clink. It wasn't just because he was a murderer and a psychopath. He kept thumbing his nose at the feds publicly. That creates anger, and the feds take it out on you. What did he do that made them so mad?
I've thought about this a lot, and I'm sure he's had a lot of time to think about this. We'll be talking about this in the coming months, I'm sure. But for one thing, he accepted the marketplace accepted Bitcoin, which in those days was seen as being this non-state currency that guaranteed financial independence. It was one of the first big deployments of this new currency. So there was that. The other thing that troubles me slightly is when I think about this marketplace, and I know your viewers are looking at this going, "Oh, a drug marketplace? That's terrible." But actually, the biggest people that were threatened by such a thing, a peer-to-peer marketplace for weed and narcotics would have been the drug cartels and the governments that work most closely with him. And we know those are most governments in the world. So, one wonders to what extent this was actually just a cartel deep state operation to punish the guy for competing with him. I mean, I can't prove that, but that seems to me there's more to it than what we've been told, and I suspect it may be something like that.
2 life sentences plus 40. Something's not adding up there. Okay, let's change gears. We all saw the inauguration, and we all saw the lefty tech bros were all there. Bezos was there, Zuckerberg was there, Bezos's new arm candy was there, and now, yesterday, we were treated to this press conference. The CEO of Oracle, Larry Ellison, got up and said this.
Once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again using AI, in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
Jeffrey, I'm fine with medical innovation. I love it. I'm glad we have the life expectancy we have. All that sounds positively horrific for me, and you're going to have to count me out on all that.
Yeah, I like this attitude. I mean, just refuse any product called mRNA. That's it. Consumers themselves can drive this nonsense off the marketplace if they ever attempt to deploy it. AI has nothing to do with anything. This is just this stupid buzzword they're throwing around. And then Elon Musk revealed after the fact that they don't have anything like the money that they're talking about right now. So it was 100% lies. I don't understand how Elizabeth Holmes is in jail right now. But this guy, is scot-free going around promoting these snake oil gibberish on TV, lying to everybody about it. It's appalling. Now, I have had people tell me that they think this is disreputable and discreditable to Trump, that he would have given platform to this kind of gibberish. But, I really do think one way possibly to look at Trump's involvement in this is that he just likes the fact that these tech moguls are now having to kiss his ring and say, "Oh, if it weren't for you, Mr. President, we would never be able to do this. Oh, we're big fans of you. We love what you're doing to this country, blah, blah, blah." And that's just sort of music to Trump's ears. These people have all been supporters of Obama and then Biden. The tech bros went full left wing, and for them to shift and turn to Trump is a delicious irony. Whether he takes it seriously or not, I can't say for sure. But I will tell you this: he feels like he was lied to by Fauci on the mRNA technology, which they told him that the magic of mRNA technology would be deployed to fix the great flu from Wuhan. It didn't work. So he's deeply suspicious of all these kind of medical hucksters that are out there. I do think it's interesting that one of the things that Trump did last night is he froze all activities of the CDC and the NIH and the FDA, all of them, froze them all, no public communications at all until he says otherwise. So that gives you a sense of what his real views are on the health bureaucracies.
Yeah, what do you make of that particular move? He leaves the WHO, World Health Organization. He tells the CDC, FDA, all communications done now. I'll let you know when you can speak again. That sounds to me like there's going to be a little cleanup coming.
I think so. I was actually very impressed by that. And I looked back at the CDC and what they had been saying over the last several weeks. And the last communique was, I think, January, I forget now the exact date, but may have been January 10th, something like that. And is promoting the so-called One Health, which is an integrated, buzzwords. But what it's trying to say is that bugs, caterpillars, and birds are no less important than human beings, and that everything is the same. This is sort of the corruption of One Health. It's one thing to say all life depends on other life. Okay, fine, that's beautiful. We can read about that in children's cartoons and stuff. But for the CDC to be promoting this One Health stuff, it's deeply dangerous and deeply totalitarian. So I can't say for sure, but I'm just looking at that last communique from the CDC and thinking this would have driven Trump crazy. And he just might have just said, listen, I don't know what these bastards are up to, but here's the plan. Nothing. Say nothing. No communications. Your weekly publication, MMWR, which was evil during COVID. I mean, they were putting out fake science every single day. I mean, it was appalling, the lies that were coming out in the MMWR. I mean, it got so bad that Brownstone was actually considering starting a publication to do nothing but refute the lies of the MMWR. Well, he shut it down. I mean, he shut it down yesterday. So now the CDC, FDA, NIH are not allowed to say anything, nor are they allowed to change any aspect of the website. Because don't forget, in his first term, the CDC was issuing edicts that he had no idea what they were issuing. On March 12th, 2020, the CDC sent out a notification that all ballots should be mail-in for the November election. This was March 12th, 2020. Now, did they ask the White House about that? I won't think so. They were operating as a rogue agency trying to overthrow the president. They were enabling voter fraud. This was already from March 12th, 2020. So this is the kind of nonsense that went on in the first term, and he didn't know. He arrived thinking that he was the president and everybody should go along with what his wishes were, but he didn't understand just how evil people out there would use these agencies to undermine him. So he's taken full control. And actually one of the most interesting things is, I think probably you and I have talked about this in the past, is the Schedule F executive order that came a fortnight before he left office the last time, which would have reclassified many people in the civil service as being having jobs that were responding directly to the president, which is to say their jobs could be terminated if they were somehow undermining the administration's priorities. So the new Schedule F came out yesterday, and it's the same old Schedule F except broadened this time. It's not using the word Schedule F now. It uses policy/career, which I think is deliberately ambiguous, meaning that every career employee of the federal government, we're talking about maybe 2 million people, that deals with policy is ipso facto now working for the elected leader of the people. So it's a restoration of government by the people. This looks to me, for all the world, I've read it like 3 to 5 times, and I'm not an attorney, but it looks to me like a return to 19th century America before the Pendleton Act of 1883. So what it means is that these bureaucrats are actually going to be either they have to work for the American people, or they're going to have to quit, be fired, and that's where we're headed. So, yeah, and I'm sure you're pleased by this. I mean, I'm delighted in ways. I was expecting some surprises here because I knew they kept all this stuff under wraps for a very long time. But I must say I've been pleasantly surprised. And we need to be careful about messaging on this. People are saying, oh, he's behaving like a dictator. Oh, he's issuing these these executive orders, this is terrible. But actually, if you look at them, every one of them is restoring government to the people. Every one of them is restoring constitutional structures and getting rid of all the ways in which the Constitution has been undermined. And that goes for birthright citizenship too, which, I don't think was ever implied by the 14th Amendment. So I think in so many ways, people say he's behaving like a dictator. I don't think so. What he's doing is exercising authority over the government and the deep state and the administrative state that has for so long actually really been running America, despite whoever the president was. They're the ones who have been in charge for the last 4 years. So these are extraordinary actions. And I love the fact that the pundit class, and that includes me, can barely keep up with him. I mean, it's a brilliant thing. He's driving the news cycles. The media has been shut out. You read the New York Times now, and it's nothing other than what you read already on X yesterday. So this is kind of fun. I'm enjoying it. And so far, I have to give an A+ to the way government's been conducted.
Me too. I am all on board. Jeffrey, thank you so much, my friend. I know you're under the weather. I hope you feel better. Thank you. That was wonderful. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.